Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Hope your day's going pretty good so far. Today I have a tutorial for you, just a quick revisit of some stuff I went through and looked at all the feedback that you guys gave me. I made a list of items to go over. This is what I'm going to show you today. Cropping, lasso tool, magnetic lasso tool, duplicating an object and grouping it, blending items together, and changing your background color. So I'm going to do that in a quick, like maybe 6-7 minute tutorial for you guys to watch. All right, so for today, you should be under Wednesday, September 26th. You got your warm-up to do. I made a lesson plan for you guys for this one if you want to go over it and look at the grading rubric. And then the tutorial is going to go right in here when I'm done, and then I'm going to ask you guys to leave me some feedback. If you weren't here yesterday or Monday, here's the items that you have for this one. If you needed me to do a separate tutorial for you, like for Jeremiah first period, I put that in there. And any past graded work or tutorials, just keep on looking. Okay, here we go. So we're in Photoshop. I'm going to bring up my list over here so I don't forget them. First thing we're going to look at is cropping. So the crop tool is the third one down. It looks like this, and it's pretty simple to use. Once you click on it, you're just going to drag to the size you want it to be. Let's say I wanted to crop it to this size right here. And main thing is make sure that up here on the top where it says how many pixels per inch, you don't want any less than 300. That's going to give you a pretty clear image. This is the size you're cropping it to. You can change it to 4:6 or 6:4 or change whatever size you want it to be, and then hit enter and it will crop your image for you. Okay, pretty simple. Anything you're going to use, you want to edit it first and then bring it into your document. So if I had edited this strawberry, then I would then bring it into my Mr. Potato Head document or Produce Head document. All right, so I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to bring up, make sure my history's on and go back to the opening of that. Okay, next on my list, lasso tool. So the difference between the lasso and the magnetic lasso. Lasso tool means that you can just free draw and it selects for you. And whatever you draw, you can select and then turn around and bring into your new document. If you're using the lasso tool and you want to get rid of a selection you made, it's Control D. If you're using the lasso, whoops, I'm on Move tool. If you're using the lasso tool and you want to add to it, hold down the Shift key and it'll add to your selection. Hold down the Alt key and it'll take away from your selection. Okay. Difference between that and the magnetic lasso. Okay, so I'm going to do Control D, deselect. Magnetic lasso sticks to the edge of an object. It is guessing on what you are trying to select based off of the pixels that you're clicking on. Okay, so this is very different than the lasso tool because the lasso just selects whatever you select. The magnetic lasso tool is taking a guess for you, and for the most part it's probably going to be right, and you can move pretty quickly. It'll stick right to the edges of things, and when you get to right here, it'll select all of it for you. Then you can click, drag it up, and drag it into wherever you're working. You would then take it from there and switch to an eraser tool and start cleaning up some of the edges. That was a really bad job, but if I wanted to zoom in, I could then go and start really cleaning it up to smooth it out. You guys get the idea. Control 0. Look how nice of a job that looks right there. That's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to go back over here. Next on the list, so we've done cropping, lasso, and magnetic lasso. Duplicate an object and group it together. Okay, so let's do this with the blueberries. I'm going to do the quick selection tool. So I'm just going to very quickly select. I'm going to do, let's just do this blueberry. Okay, I've got a blueberry. So I'm going to take, and I can either drag it into my document or I can do Control C for copy, Control V for paste. So here I have a blueberry, and I'm going to zoom in to my blueberry. It's pretty poorly cut out at the moment, but this is fine. I'm just showing you guys as an example. So here I have my blueberry, and if I want to make a copy of this, hold down the Alt key right next to your space bar and drag. That makes a copy pretty quickly. You could make a bunch of copies just by holding that down. In fact, you can do that pretty quickly. Okay, if you want to group these together, go into your layers where they have them, and it's all right here. Hold down the Shift key and group. Go ahead and click these. Once you have them all selected by holding down Shift, you're going to right click and you're going to say Group from Layers. Once you've done that, I'm going to call it Blueberries. Okay. Once you've done that, they all move together as a group. All right. And if you wanted to individually move any of them, right, you'd have to go under this folder. You would then be able to individually go and move around whatever it is that you wanted to move that was grouped. But they still remain grouped. If you go back to here, you can still move them as a group. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Leave me feedback. Let me know if that doesn't. All right, continuing on, 2 more items. Changing the background color. I'll save the blending kind of towards the last. Let's say we're going to change the background color. I'm just going to drag some of these blueberries into the trash because nobody needs that many blueberries. All right, and we're left with just a background layer. If you want a color for your background layer, you're going to go to this one that looks like, remember I said it looks like the Pepsi symbol or like a yin yang. Click on this and you can add solid color. Choose whatever color you want. You could get rid of that in the trash. You could add a gradient. Select from any of these. Okay. Or you could actually add a texture if you want to as well. Pattern. And there's some options available to you there. Okay. That's how you would do it, and then you would bring in items over top of that, like the strawberry. It would, let me shift that down to make that smaller. Transform, scale. I'm going to zoom out. I didn't hold down the Shift key on that, but you can see. So then you would be able to place your objects on top of a pattern, background, or design. Okay. That's what it looks like without it. That's what it looks like with it. All right, next up on the list was how do you blend items together? This is a little bit trickier. It involves kind of lighting and doing adjustment layers on things, and that's something that's a little more complicated in Photoshop. I'm just going to very quickly select this strawberry. Nothing pretty. I'm just going to bring it in so you can get an idea. Okay, so what you could do to blend, and this is again getting a little more in depth than I didn't really want to do just yet, but I will show you for anybody who wants to play around with it. And this is not something you need to know right away, but if you just want to mess with it. I've got 2 different strawberries, and you can tell that the lighting on this one is a little bit off. So you can go into here with these options and you can choose like darken, and I could change the opacity on it. I don't really want the opacity on that one, but I could do, let's do multiply is another option. Lighten, screen, some of these different effects of it, hard light. So if you select some of these different ones, you can play around to get an option that maybe is a little better for you. You also could do what's called an adjustment layer, and you could choose curves, which again, this is getting a little more complicated than I want you guys to do. Curves is an adjustment layer that's going to affect the layer underneath of it, and you can move this up and down. You can see that it adjusts the overall lighting and darkness. and it kind of moves together. You can choose, like if I chose magenta and I pulled that out, this is actually affecting the background layer, not these two. That's something that you can do. All these are things that I don't really want you guys to get into just yet. That's something that we're going to get into when we really start editing pictures. For this right now, just kind of play around with these simple things. I don't want you guys to get too overwhelmed with everything and all the choices. So just stick to those options. All right, guys, so for today, you need to do your warm-up. You've got the lesson plan to look over. You've got this tutorial once I post it. And then I want you to leave me feedback. Let me know how everything's going. So 3 days down, 3 more to go, and then I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.